bro.
We'll do it live!
And you gotta stop making that joke.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Obscure Reference Show! Yay! With your hosts, Mike. Myles.
Good evening.
Drew. Patrick. Oh, wait.
He is not with us.
Patrick
today.
is not here tonight. He is out on his honeymoon.
Drinking butter beer and getting butter weird.
Yeah. If he wasn't going to the B zone before, he's going there now.
A real Bonezo the Clown, that guy.
And eating Kathy's ice cream.
Oh,
God,
man.
that picture made me uncomfortable.
It really did.
Eating Kathy's ice cream sounds like a weird
Sex thing.
sex thing.
Well, and then she's like spread eagled on the cover of that stand. It looked really
She
weird.
would be, wouldn't she? Ack.
Speaking of, how was Patrick's wedding, Drew?
It was a lot of fun. It was Boston, Bosstown. I had never been there before. I feel like I didn't really get to see the city because it was super, super busy. I flew in on Friday and was out on Sunday, so it was really just 2 nights, and the whole day I was there was all just because I was staying with the best man, so we were doing all these back and forth things, trying to get stuff to and from the venue and all of that. So, but it was a good time. I posted a picture of the wedding kiss on Twitter if anybody saw that.
Yep.
I did get hit on twice, so that is a thing that happened.
What was his name?
Why is that funny?
Yeah, that was a genuine question.
Well, this time it was 2 ladies. Well,
Notice how
kinda.
it says this time.
This time. Well, I was a theater major. It happened. I mean, the hitting on, not anything else.
Like the story? That sounds like a pretty defensive argument.
Those cast parties got pretty weird.
Yeah.
Or lots of red wine.
And cocaine.
But anyway, so I will argue with the first one. I don't know if she was actually hitting on me or if she was just super.
It may have been
drunk
like a
and-
pity hit.
It might have
It may have
been.
been like this sad, lonely bastard that came to a wedding on his own. I'll cheer him up a little
Yeah,
bit.
even though I was doing that move where I was like holding my drink with the very clear wedding band, like.
Oh, you didn't like hide it in your back pocket for the...
Lord. But she was doing that thing where she would like sit really close to you and like ask you questions about
Oh, she was
stuff.
just drunk.
She might have just been drunk.
Yeah, no, that's drunk body language.
But then at the wedding, there's dancing at the wedding, which I normally hate, especially when I am there alone. And we were dancing on the dance floor, and I had gotten pulled out, and we were dancing. Then I just sort of stand back a little bit to kind of take in what was going on. And this guy I had just met the day before comes up to me and says, I forget what their names are. Sorry, people, if you're watching.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I'm sure, because we're so popular.
Business cards at Patrick's wedding.
Yeah, with all of our 2 live viewers that we have right now. Basically,
Hi, Patrick. I hope you're enjoying your honeymoon.
But basically, he comes over. He's like, "Hey, so you know my girlfriend's sister over there. She's
Oh, okay. I thought this was going like, my girlfriend thinks you're pretty cute. I think you're pretty cute too.
She's 26, real attractive, and I had to pull the dude. I'm married, so I was feeling pretty good about myself. A little ego boost.
Well, I'm happy for you,
Nice
Drew.
to know there's still vibes happening my way.
As a man that's never been hit on, even by his own wife, I'm proud of you.
I can hear Sarah in the background.
Did she find the pants she was looking for?
Yeah, she walked by a second ago.
See, I tried that Jedi mind trick on her, that these weren't the pants she was looking for. But I swear to God, it just never works.
We'll have to put a super NSFW tag on here. Let's see what's going on in in the chat room. Did I play bass for the band that played at his reception? Only in no, I did not. I don't
No,
have a
but you
joke for
did
that.
play for a band called the band that played at his reception.
I also Wedding Band was the name of my high school wrestling team. Terrible.
We also have
Terrible.
what's for theater majors and podcasts. I have no idea.
I don't know.
It's the consistent want for attention and limelight.
Honestly, yeah.
It's like, why? Oh, there's a camera pointing at me right now. Maybe I should sing, like Drew does every episode.
Nobody is watching me at my job at the bank, but now.
So let's get to the nitty.
Actually, I only know one other theater major that's in podcasting. That's Patrick, but he's not even here. So
Speaking of majors in college, there is a study done about in every state, the college that had the highest ratio of graduates. And for South Carolina, it was our alma mater.
woo! All right, yay!
And I think for here it said it was Georgia Southern, which I was, or it might have been, I think it was Georgia Southern.
Was
I
it
don't know.
Georgia College and State University, which is a name that I never understood why it was so long?
I don't know. One time Sarah and I made a joke about the University of College and State Technical Institute of just like trying to come up with like the longest possible like school name of all time.
So the slurred nerd said he got hit on yesterday by an old lady while he was just trying to buy stamps.
All right, old lady. He's like, young man, you must value the postal system. Let me buy you a glass of warm iced tea or something.
Let me know if you need any help.
Warm iced tea?
Yeah. The older I get, the more I like the taste of hot water. Guys, seriously, Hearthstone.
Hearthstone.
Oh, I wanted to bring this up actually because I started playing Hearthstone this week.
It's freaking great.
It's really fun.
I spent $13 yesterday on card packs.
Oh.
I have not spent any money.
Oh, dude, it was worth it just to get like a couple extra good cards. I've been able to restrain myself from buying any more since then, but like I have a couple good custom decks now that I'm doing a pretty good job of.
How many matches have you won?
I have one. I don't know what my actual.
Oh, see, I haven't played against people yet. I'm still just kind of going through all the characters.
If you look at your achievements window, it will tell you how many matches you've actually won.
But I wanted to thank you, Drew, for the suggestion. Or it might have been someone in the Patrick in the chat room, because I really enjoyed it. It was kind of exactly what I was looking for. It's kind of a Magic Light.
Yeah, exactly. Like
It's fantastic.
I always wanted to get into a CCG, but I never like it. It's so impenetrable to get.
Yeah,
into
exactly. It's very opaque.
This strikes a really nice balance between having a good tutorial and it's easy to get, but it's also pretty in depth once you get into it.
It's also a game that I oddly don't feel bad losing at.
I have 7 total wins as of right now because I've been playing mostly against the innkeeper or whatever.
Yeah, I have 17 total wins.
Nice.
And I have been playing since the beta.
I do have a
tells you
question
anything.
for you guys, because even though I tried to get into Magic, I never got to the point where I was building my own deck. Is this your first experience with building your own deck?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I had a friend that was actually over a couple nights ago who's been in since the beta, and he's really into it, and he was kind of walking me through like, here's kind of what you need for like an early game, for a mid game, for a late game. You need to make sure that you always have minions on your board while having blah blah blah. And so I'm starting to kind of get the subtleties of it, and I'm really enjoying trying to figure out the equations of a game, if you will.
Right. And that's why I've been kind of going through like all the characters that you have the option of playing first, because I kind of want to get more of a feel for the game before I put myself out there.
Oh yeah, because I mean everybody starts with a mage, but I play a priest.
I
deck.
love that mage.
I find I have some of the best results with the hunter.
I've heard a lot of good things about the hunter deck.
A friend of mine uses a shaman and continually just murders me because those totems are super OP when you can line them up.
The weird thing is the game can just, it's one of those things where you feel like you're doing super well, and then
it just flips over on you.
Flip. There is just a turn that the game takes.
But it's also kind of fun because it gives it an element of unpredictability.
Yeah.
And
because it's the randomness of the cards like that are shuffled to you. Like all of my early game stuff sometimes doesn't show up until like I get all my late game stuff like right
so
off.
How many cards do you have per deck? Is it 60?
30.
30.
Okay. Because I have not yet built a custom deck yet. Because something like that has always given me sort of anxiety about doing.
There are some websites that are already out there established to helping like what it looks like to have a good deck for different different classes. There's one that I recently just heard about. The name of the website is ridiculously stupid. It's hearthpwn.com.
Of course.
But it's a way to kind of find out ways to build your deck.
I'll look into that because this is exactly what I was looking for. Because I wanted something where I didn't have to spend money on, but I like the idea of a collectible card game, and I like the basic rules of Magic, and this kind of hit every single note I wanted.
Well, and I like this one because you don't have to have resources the same way you do in Magic.
Right.
And it's a game that it's got a set amount of time. And one of the things I think I like most about it, although it's a little frustrating at first, is that you cannot talk to your opponent.
I kind of love that.
You can just use the little emotes that are there.
Yeah, but I mean it's fun because it makes griefing a little bit more of like a tactic.
It's one of those things where I don't have to hear the over and over again of somebody making fun of me for playing so poorly,
man, you're playing with a mage,
or someone just talking shit like a 12-year-old or something, and I have no desire to interact with other people.
It is a fun.
That's the story of my life.
Game. Yeah. The one thing I'm pretty excited about is they just announced at PAX East that they're going to bring a lot more single player content to the game,
which I'm super excited about.
Specifically,
right now it's pretty slim, but I'm also still enjoying it, trying to get all my characters up to level 10.
Yeah, I've got all the characters. Well, I've been playing for a while. I've got them all up to level 10. But so it's going to be Naxxramas, which is one of the big raid dungeons from World of Warcraft, and you will actually go in and fight some of the raid bosses as.
That's cool.
I like that. That's pretty cool. Like it's the World of Warcraft I never got into.
Yeah.
And I played World of Warcraft, and I raided Naxxramas the second time it came around, not the first time. It's not that good. Anyway.
So other than Hearthstone, I also am continuing my Dark Souls adventures. And
I thought you beat it already.
Oh, yeah, of course, but I got to start a new character, right?
Right.
So if you guys ever decide to play Dark Souls 2, what I will tell you is hexes are so overpowered. I am killing bosses that took me multiple times to beat on my first run through in like 4 or 5 hits.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for any Dark Souls fans out there, hexes are OP. And I got Dead Rising 3.
How is it?
It is so stupid, and I love it for that reason.
I can get behind that.
It is so dumb, like building like a Blanca mask that electrocutes zombies. That is
awesome.
Yeah,
I was worried that stuff wasn't still in the game because it's more realistic take.
No, dude. So that initial like concept video that came out, it is exactly like Dead Rising 2, but better. Because you don't have to worry about any of the Zombrex stuff.
Is it still timed?
It is, but it doesn't feel nearly as
invasive.
Yeah, it doesn't feel quite as just kind of like punishing as it has in the previous games. But I'm really enjoying it. In fact, they start the game off in a way that you think Zombrex. Did you guys play Dead Rising 2?
Yeah.
I played 1. I did not play 2.
So in Dead Rising 2, you are Chuck, and you have your daughter, I think Katie is her name, with you, and she needs a Zombrex injection from preventing her from turning every couple hours. So you're dealing with
annoying.
Yes, you're dealing with the timer of the game, the timer of the missions, and the timer of your daughter. And in this game, you think you're going to have to like go on Zombrex missions all the time, but it ends up not needing it. So it's fun, like making custom vehicles that are like one part like rake, one part bulldozer, and just like plowing through zombies. And there's this one that sweeps them all up and turns them into this ball that just ejects at other zombies. It's pretty stupid.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Well, I, on Monday, finally broke down and got the Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls expansion.
Just in time for me to stop playing it. Good job.
I
still haven't played
I'm not
Diablo 3
worried
at
about
all.
playing. I'm not worried about playing with you, Mike. But
That's
that
what you said
is
last night.
Alviva your pinata. Mm.
Oh.
I don't like this
That
anymore.
was weird. I'm uncomfortable now. But that is a very fun expansion, and
It is. Are you playing a Crusader?
I just started one today, but I only played it for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I don't really know.
I feel like for me, the stuff that I find is like some of the early game abilities that I'm using are the same ones I'm using late game, and it doesn't really. I haven't really had to change it up too much, but I'm literally getting health for everything I do. So it's a class that does some pretty good DPS as well as consistently healing himself. So
what difficulty were you playing on?
Dude, I'm with the Crusader. I'm able to play it on Master with like hardly any trouble.
Okay, I'm because see, I only played a monk before. When the game was first out, I played a monk. I played it to 60. I was getting some Paragon levels and all of that. But I feel like monks are suddenly underpowered now. Like I'm not doing as much damage as I used to do, and I don't have as much survivability that I used to have. So I think I'm just doing something wrong. I just don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like they've hit a pretty good balance for all their characters.
Monk is the only, in the last big patch they did last week. Monk was the only class that got no changes whatsoever.
Oh, really?
No
I've heard that they've made the Witch Doctor a much more like fun experience, and so I'm thinking about starting a Witch Doctor soon.
I started a Witch Doctor. Again, I only played it for about 20 minutes, but
I'm going to name my Witch Doctor Ting Tang.
I don't know if that's gonna fit. But,
so I'll name him Ting Tang.
Because that won't be racist.
Uncomfortably racist, yeah.
What's sad, Mike, is that when I was creating my Witch Doctor, I was like, I could do that. Nope, not doing that name. But
well, nobody ever sees your character's name, anyways.
Unless you're playing, don't they see it if you're playing online?
No, they see your BattleNet
ID. Well, I have been playing a wizard a lot, and I wish I had played a wizard much earlier because
the wizard was my starting class.
I am so good at wizard. Oh man.
I still haven't played Diablo 3 at all.
Well then, be quiet.
I have been.
Have you played any Diablo games in the past, Myles?
Yes, I played the first two.
Okay, if you like Diablo 2, like they finally made Diablo 3 the Diablo game you wanted to play, which it feels like a sequel to Diablo 2 at this point.
Yeah, and the adventure mode is
awesome.
It's
so great.
Good. It's so good, and it's so simple what they're doing.
I'm looking for more stuff to play. I started Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch.
Oh man, I've heard it's really good but really grindy. You'll have to tell me how you like it.
It is. I'm about 15 or 20 hours in, and I think about 40% through the game. It is exactly that. It's very good, very grindy, weird. It's weird trying to figure out who the audience of this game is.
Yeah, because it's almost like we want kids to enjoy this, but it's too difficult for kids.
That's the weird thing.
Is it a game that is meant for your kids to watch you play?
I think so, because the game is gorgeous. I
played the demo, and it was really, really hard. Because the demo, they don't explain to you what you're supposed to be doing. Like they don't explain anything as far as how
they didn't explain early on that your main character, your physical attacks don't do shit. You're using your familiars, your little Pokemon, basically.
Right, and that kind of continues through the whole game, right?
Yes. Basically, at a certain point, about maybe 9 hours in the game, you finally get the ability to capture other monsters. And
what's the little dude's name that is like your companion from the get-go?
Mighty
Mr. something?
It's Mighty.
The little guy,
MIT.
the little dude with the lantern in his nose.
Oh, Drippy, Mr. Drippy.
Drippy. I've heard he's a really cool character.
He is, because here's the thing: the game at the beginning holds your hand like entirely, and that to me says, okay, they're trying to get kids into this, because I'm thinking maybe someone around middle school, like the age we got into like Final Fantasy VII, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe someone like my first JRPG.
The people that can dedicate the hours and hours and hours of time to
and so part of it plays like my first JRPG, but the other part of it plays like a JRPG, where it's like, you gotta grind and you gotta know what you're doing, or else you are fucked. One weird note is Oliver, the main character, is the most polite character I have ever seen in an RPG.
He says sorry at the end of every battle.
Yes, and he yes ma'ams, no ma'ams, yes sir, no sir, thank you very much, even to bad guys. Like, this guy is the most well-mannered child I have ever seen in a game. and even people comment on it. Like, this great tree that he's talking to, he like apologizes for like Drippy's rudeness, and he's like, well, at least somebody has some manners. Also, every character seems to have a different accent. Like, one person sounds Scottish, one person sort of sounds British, one person sounds Southern.
I think Drippy is Welsh.
He's
Yeah.
Voice actor.
It's a little jarring at first and then amusing. Just because it just seems chosen at random. And there's a couple weird there's some weird battle things that I don't always agree with, and the bosses seem overpowered at first, but every single one you can pretty much spam pretty easily once you figure out how the boss system works. But overall, it's a really solid game. It's really charming. It does suffer from the problem that a lot of JRPGs, like the Tales series and Eternal Sonata, have, where it sounds like it's supposed to be a children's book. Like, everyone sounds like they're in a children's cartoon.
I'm sorry if you already said this, but I assume it's just like eye candy.
Yeah. I mean,
I was expecting a stronger response to that.
it's a gorgeous game. Like, everything in the game is beautiful, and a part of it feels like you're playing a Miyazaki movie.
Well, it is Studio Ghibli.
Right. Exactly, and that's kind of that was the big draw for me, even though I like JRPGs. The battle system is very similar to the Tales series. I don't know if you've ever played any of the Tales games.
Yeah, I played Tales of Symphonia on GameCube.
Yeah.
I played Tailspin on Super Nintendo.
I still, to this day, sorry to cut you off again, Miles, but still to this day, one of my biggest disappointments was being in Tokyo and not getting to go to the Studio Ghibli Art Museum.
Oh, I bet that would have been amazing too.
That would have been great.
Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah, the art direction in this game is
I'm just bummed out now. I'm bummed out for you. I'm bummed out for all of us that didn't get to hear the story or see the pictures. Just bummed out.
What the hell?
I have no idea. But yeah, I'm still really enjoying it, but I'm also a big JRPG fan. So if you haven't played it, I bought it for $6.99 on sale on the PSN, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, I almost pulled the trigger on that like multiple times.
I did too. I know I
great.
wouldn't have played it even if I did get it. I just
What's not pretty great is the Young Justice game. It is a game that seems like they have finished it, canceled the show, and just put it out.
So, give me the pitch for Young Justice.
It's basically Teen Titans.
Then why isn't it just Teen Titans?
Because it was just a different property. They wanted to not call it Teen Titans. But game itself...
Because they wanted to make Teen Titans the cartoony, fun, goofy...
Right, and Young Justice is...
the serious, dark show.
Right, and outside of that Batman the Animated Series, it's probably my favorite animated comic book adaptation. The game itself is basically a very, very basic garbage version of Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Man, Mua was good stuff too when it came out.
Oh yeah, no, I mean there are good aspects to it. It's not complete garbage. Like I'm going through the game, but it's
Oh man, Ultimate Alliance was like it was like the pinnacle of like Marvel meets Diablo.
Oh yeah,
Was that PS2 era or was that later?
yeah,
Yeah.
PS2.
I don't know that I
The
ever
second
played
one
it.
came out for PS3, I think, and Xbox Live, the 360. But yeah, it was really disappointing. Like the writers of the show made the story, but there's not much story there. But all the actors from the show are on there. But it's just if you're a fan of the show and you need something to get you by, you know.
Well, they're getting more than Beware the Batman fans are getting.
Oh no! Beware the Batman fans are getting the rest of the season at 3:00 in the morning
3 o'clock in the morning
on Sunday
on Sunday.
in July.
Every other channel's gonna be showing infomercials, but Cartoon Network's gonna have Beware the Batman. on.
Which I haven't seen, so I can't judge.
I don't know. It didn't look very good. I haven't seen it either.
But yeah, I've been playing a lot more video games recently. But we're at the point of the show where I suggested to Drew an idea that we start doing an obscure reference, where we either reboot something or offer our version of a story of something. And my suggestion for our first one was...
Well, Myles, I'm gonna interrupt you. So basically, this is Myles' idea in a nutshell. We are going to basically create an episode of something or create our own version of something. And Myles suggested something I think that's very good. But since we've got a hop-in chat room right now, guys in the chat room, what would you guys like to see the More You Nerd reboot? Or the obscure reference show?
Oh yeah, that would be fantastic. That's a great idea.
I've got a suggestion. The podcast.
So this week, my suggestion, which I knew would be near and dear to Drew's heart, was your version of a Gundam show.
I've been geeking out on some Gundam this week. Patrick somehow was found donated to his library, but they didn't want it. A Gundam TV show that I have never been able to get my hands on. And he found the whole DVD set of it, and I was like, yes, Patrick! So I'm diving into that. So I have been very interested. So we can reboot that, but if our chat room, I don't know what the lag is between the chat room and
I think it's probably about 30, 40 seconds.
Yeah, it seems to be a little significant. But I would like to write an episode of something or reboot something. But I would love to get it from the chat. So we're just going to vamp until we...
If you would like to give everyone an opportunity, I have some trivia.
Okay.
Okay.
Trivia! So, question the first.
Reboot Resident Evil. We can do that in a minute, but okay.
Basically, it's old school trivia style, one at a time. Mike, I'm going to start with you because I'm pretty sure Drew knows this one.
Okay.
The mobile suits of the first Gundam show, Gundam 0079, were inspired by the power armor from what classic American science fiction novel?
I'm trying to think of classic science fiction novels that have...
It's one that has been made into a movie.
Yeah.
It's the only one that I can think of. I did not know this, but I think I've got a good guess.
Huh. I don't know.
The movie version of this did not have power armor in it, but Starship Troopers?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Drew gets the point. All right, Drew, we're on to you. Name the Street Fighter character who first appeared and often is still considered as a joke in Street Fighter Alpha, from the result of playful ribbings between Capcom and fighting game rivals SNK.
Dan Hibiki?
Correct. Mike.
What?
In the animated series Batman Beyond, the WB opted to create new villains for the show, as opposed to using his classic Rose Gallery. However, aside from the Joker, name one of the two iconic villains the Future Knight did do battle with.
I'm trying to remember. I watched a couple episodes of it, and I'm trying to remember who was in those first couple episodes. There was like Kind of like the big bad that they made for that show.
They had Beyond versions of, like there was effectively the Beyond version
are
of the
two
Scarecrow
specific
and the
characters.
Beyond version of.
There are two specific characters that were from the past.
I'm gonna go with, other than the Joker, let's go with Two-Face.
Okay. Incorrect. Drew?
I know the Phantasm shows up in that Justice League Unlimited video, but they're not really on screen together.
Right.
Killer Croc.
No. The answer
Penguin?
was Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze. Wait, Mr. Freeze was in one of those early episodes, wasn't he?
And Ra's al Ghul.
You know what? I was
Oh,
gonna
really?
guess him too.
All right.
Well, that would make perfect sense. Ra's al Ghul.
All right. Drew. Green Jelly is cited as being the first artist to create a full soundtrack for a video game. What 1994 16-bit side-scrolling beat-em-up classic did they create the music for?
Streets of Rage.
No. Mike?
All right, give me that question one more time.
Green Jelly is cited as being the first artist to create a full soundtrack for a video game. What 1994 side-scroller beat-em-up did they create the music for?
1994 side-scroller beat 'em up.
You're gonna kick yourself if you don't get this one.
1994 side-scroller
Yeah.
beat 'em up.
That had music by Green Jelly.
Oh, it's not the Ninja Turtles one, is it?
No.
I'm trying to think of like 94 side-scrolling beat 'em ups.
It was on consoles only.
Was it? I'm sorry. Did you say SNES or NES by any chance?
It's on both Genesis and Super Nintendo.
Oh, Genesis and Super Nintendo. Side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Final Fight.
Nope.
I'm trying to think of cross-platform beat 'em ups that I played. I don't know.
Oh, Dexter in the chat room has a very
Correct answer.
very correct
Okay, yeah,
answer.
I don't know.
It is Maximum Carnage.
You know what? Fuck, I was fucking thinking that too.
All right, so no one gets the point of that one.
Mike, you had that on Super Nintendo. I had that on Sega Genesis, and I was
had that red
always-
cartridge.
I can't remember if the Genesis one was red. It would had to have been, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I was never any good at it.
Oh, I beat that shit.
The
ending is hard.
I think I beat Maximum Carnage. I don't think I ever beat Separation Anxiety.
I don't think I did either, but I don't
Separation
remember.
Anxiety also didn't feel like as good of a game.
It wasn't.
I don't think I played Separation Anxiety.
So, question 5. What is the name of the vicious tree that attacks Harry and Ron in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets?
Ooh.
Drew.
Wait, I missed that one, and so that's technically Patrick's
Mike.
question. Or Mike's question.
I know the
Whatever
answer if
podcast
Drew
is.
wants to go.
It's your question, and
It's
I
your
don't know
question.
the answer, so it's going to be a waste of time.
It's the Whomping Willow.
Correct. Drew, the 1978 horror classic Halloween was the highest-grossing independent film of all time until its record was smashed by what 1990 comic and cartoon adaptation?
Wait, say that one more time.
The 1978 horror classic Halloween was the highest-grossing independent film of all time until its record was smashed until what 1990 film adaptation of a comic book and cartoon?
1990?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where that threw me off too.
I know.
Yeah. Dick Tracy?
No. Mike, I guess?
1990. You're rocking back and forth is freaking me out, Miles.
Sorry.
Yeah, you do that every episode, brother.
I know.
Oh, wait. Is it animated, Miles?
The film is not animated.
Okay, never mind.
The film is a live-action version.
I know I'm going to kick myself for not knowing this because I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue somewhere, but what is it?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man. That would have been, yeah, that would have been it.
That's from the second one. All right, Mike.
Yo.
Originally spoken in John Carpenter's They Live, the variation of the line, I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, but I'm all out of gum, was
Duke
resurrected
Nukem.
and... Yes, it was, Duke Nukem. Drew, this 1927 silent film directed by Fritz Lang was the first feature-length science fiction film.
Metropolis.
Correct. Mike, in the Halo series, what is Master Chief's name and number designation?
Oh, it's John, and it's
316.
No. Shut up.
John. Oh God, 117.
Yeah.
Correct.
Drew, while Resident Evil was the first game to actually be given the designation survival horror, what 1989 8-bit game is often credited as the first survival horror game?
Maniac Mansion? Or Alone
Incorrect.
in the Dark? It's Alone in the Dark?
No.
Okay.
I think you guys are tied up, so this might be the tiebreaker.
Am I guessing?
Yep.
Haunted House?
No, it was
Okay.
Sweet Home.
I don't even know.
No.
So we are tied up. I do have a tiebreaker question. What is the name of the controversial female turtle that was introduced in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation?
Oh God, why does anybody want to care to remember that?
I remember seeing her. She wore obviously a pink bandana and whatnot, or pink mask and whatever. I don't know.
Think of famous artists, because they're all named after famous artists. Because I don't have his follow-up question, so you might have to try.
The famous Ninja Turtle Georgia O'Keeffe.
No.
Oh,
Daniela, Fiona.
It was Venus de Milo.
Venus. That's not an artist. That's a painting and statue.
Yeah, whatever.
Although people are doing really well in the chat room with this
Yeah, they are.
question.
Well, I know the username Dexter Riley in real life, and so I know he knows this shit.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess we're gonna call it a tie then. You guys
all right,
killed the
well.
2 tiebreaker questions I already had.
Well, let's get into our reboot. So we
yeah,
had.
So, okay, the thing is, we had started off doing Gundam, and that's what I prepared for.
I don't have one for Gundam, so I will absolutely give you one for Resident Evil.
And Myles, I could easily just tell the plot of a Gundam series that you guys haven't heard of, and that could be mine, and y'all would never know the difference.
Okay, then can we save it for when Patrick's on, because I put some thought into mine.
Yes, we will get to Gundam, because I will gladly come up with a new Gundam series. But for our first one, reboot Resident Evil, or create a Resident Evil game. So
here's the thing.
So should we reboot or create a game based in the existing content?
If we create a game, can we ignore other games having ever existed?
Here's the thing. I say go with whatever continuity you want to. I have always wanted a complete reboot of the Resident Evil series ever since Resident Evil 5. So by always, I mean the past 2 games.
Same.
Resident Evil 4 is a fantastic game. I mean, I love Resident Evil 4.
But it is not a Resident Evil game.
I think Resident Evil needs a revitalization. And the thought that I've always had was I would love for there to be some kind of hybrid between something like Amnesia and something like Uncharted, where you are kind of one man amongst the many, and you are. My tagline for it is you're not zombie hunter, you're zombie hunted.
Ooh, that's nice.
Ooh, that's good.
And I've been thinking about this one for a while. So essentially, I guess it would be more so like The Last of Us with elements of Amnesia. So you're powerless, and you are constantly like trying to like craft yourself into being able to fend off what you can, and like making it so that even slow zombies feel like a threat.
So you've got that Dark Souls element that everything could kill you.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that though.
There needs to be the thing about Resident Evil in the first one was the reason it was survival horror was because they made really shitty controls and they were like, oh, how do we justify this?
And not just that, but there was limited ammo, limited capability to save.
They lost that along the way.
Yeah.
So Resident Evil 1, 2, and I think Nemesis, the third one, really nailed kind of the feeling that I want from a game where you feel powerless against the Nemesis, and he's always chasing you, and you can't kill him, and it's scary as shit because you know he's gonna just murder you if you don't run away. So
Stars.
They need to go back to that feel where you are relatively powerless against the horde, if you will.
Okay, so who are our characters? Do you have a choice between them? Do you just have one?
I think you could have a choice between them, and maybe they go old school, Jill and Claire, or Jill and Chris, and Claire and Leon.
See, I've always hated Chris.
I think that you just need to reboot it. You just need to make a dude who gets trapped in Raccoon City during the outbreak, and he, give him some stupid bullshit story like they did for Cole for Infamous, where he's a bike messenger that knows his way around the city, and that's why he can climb.
So you want more of a Resident Evil 2 kind of feel?
Well, if we're really rebooting this, then we need to lock this stuff down. We need to decide, okay, this is in, this is out.
So,
I think the choice.
Well, are we all giving our own reboots, or are we all jointly?
I think we should all jointly come up with this one together.
Because the thing I loved about the first Resident Evil is I love the haunted house aspect of it.
Well, but so I think in this day and age, you don't have to limit yourself, right? So if you look at Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5, there are elements of the haunted house inside of this huge sprawling world. So you can make this pseudo open world environment where you're having to get from zone to zone through Raccoon City, and it just so happens that you end up going into the mansion at some point.
I was actually talking to somebody when I was getting my haircut today. My hairstylist and I were talking about how much we loved Resident Evil 2 and 3, and me specifically for all of the abandoned, zombified city aspect that you didn't get in 1. And how I didn't like it that eventually you always got to the underground Umbrella Corporation.
I was about to bring up the same thing. There's a point in every single game where you basically go down an elevator and then shit gets insane.
And they're just in a lab, and I don't
know. You know what? But I actually kind of like that stuff because it shows the insidious nature of the Umbrella Corporation and why this is happening to begin with. I think it's really cool that underneath this antiquated mansion there is this pristine research facility where all of this shit went bad from the get-go, and so I really like that part of it. Did they overuse it because they do it in every single game? Absolutely, but it's still, I think, a cool concept. I think it's something that has to be in those games because it's iconic to the series.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess I can see that. One thing I did love about the second one is the game starts throwing you in the middle of the action, and I would love to maintain that.
Leon and his Jeep.
Dude, Leon's the fucking man.
Leon wasn't in a Jeep in that one. He was in a squad car.
Yeah, he was a cop.
And
was it Claire in her Jeep then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. With her pink Daisy Dukes over bike shorts.
Okay, so you've got your male character and your female character. I always loved in the first Resident Evil games that your character choice.
How about straight up character creation?
Because I still like it, because I feel like every time there's character creation, it limits what you can do with a story like that.
That's true. I agree. That's true. It's like the NPC is always like, "What do you think about this?"
Yeah. What do you?
What about the involvement of? Is it going to be Umbrella? Or are we gonna?
Yes. I like Umbrella.
Yes, you leave Umbrella.
Leave Umbrella. Okay. What about having the whole Wesker connection? Are we doing something completely different?
No. Get rid of Wesker. Get rid of that fucking overused hack of a character.
Yeah. Wesker is gone.
No. I mean, you could still have a character that is kind of like the double-crossing nemesis of the series, but just Wesker is so much of a shell of what he was. And the first one, he was this dude that was this sleeper agent for Umbrella, and then by the end of 5, he is this injected
superpowers.
Oh god, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Have you guys ever seen the concept videos for Resident Evil 4 before it became Resident Evil 4 with the mansion and the Hookman?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that shit.
Yes, they needed to make that game badly.
Dexter in the chat room said that he thought Claire had a motorcycle, or was that Jill in 3?
Claire might have had a
I
motorcycle.
think Claire might have had a motorcycle in 2.
I just remember a Jeep. I don't. Okay. Anyway, so
Also, oh, I just lost what I was gonna say. Whatever.
guys, I've got a villain for you. Taking a little bit from the page of Resident Evil Code Veronica, you've got sort of a creepy female villain who's just kind of slightly off. Like there's something weird about her.
Like Ada.
I never
Not
actually
Ada.
played Code Veronica.
Code Veronica was good. This it was more. Well, I don't. Oh, spoiler warning. It was actually her twin brother dressed as her because I don't know. Whatever.
That sounds more like Silent Hill to me.
Yeah, it does. However, here's a little trick. This person you encounter at various points, but whatever is going on around them does not affect them. Like the zombies do not seem to notice that they're there. They get to the hunters or the lickers or the tyrants or whatever we're going to throw out at these characters. This character just seemingly walks around and is not at all.
No, because
phased by
I like the idea that it's man against his own creation and not somebody being able to kind of have like this like cohabitation with zombies.
Yeah, like I like that idea in and of itself, but that's more Silent Hill than Resident Evil.
Well, they did that in Resident Evil 4 with like the dude Salazar that had like was kind of like that little dude that
but what was that, the El Plagas or whatever it was?
Los Plagas, yeah.
Los Plagas. Wasn't that there was some sort of mind control involved in that though?
Yeah, there was. It was like a parasite that got into your brain, but yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of the core concept of the game and the story that it always had. I don't think you need to change like the story of it. I just think you need to change the execution of it.
Right, and that's one thing. Like when we were going back to like the whole amnesia aspect, is I want the whole game to be incredibly creepy and scary because, especially in Resident Evil 4, a fantastic opening. But
the village is the best part of that game.
Yeah,
like not that it's all downhill from there, but it's definitely the most intriguing part. Is like
right,
going through
and
this
I feel like instead of starting off strong and then kind of slowly getting less and less creepy, it should start off strong and then get more and more intense.
Or I think it even starts off like, have you guys? No, Drew, you haven't played The Last of Us yet.
Not yet.
The intro sequence to The Last of Us is a great building template for what Resident Evil should be. And you know what? Hey, straight up, I'm pretty sure the game that I'm describing and talking about right now that I want is The Last of Us. Naughty Dog successfully made the best Resident Evil game in a decade.
Oh, they absolutely did.
Let's make so whether we make something better, let's make ours. Okay. So you got a male character, female character. One of the two stories plays out.
Is this a co-op game?
I
think actually Johnson voiced the female character.
I don't think so.
I think that takes away from the.
I think no co-op.
Yeah, I think that takes away from the horror of the game.
I think maybe if anything you do it kind of like they did in Resident Evil 2, where you've got a slightly different story that plays out with some crossover.
Yeah, I mean that's been the first two, and I didn't play 6, so I can't speak to that one.
I played the demo for 6, and I was like, this is hot garbage. I'm never playing it.
Are these characters insiders or outsiders to the location that the events?
Well, I think that's all something that I think that one of your main characters is a Raccoon City resident, and the other guy is just passing through town.
So we're not involving stars at all.
Maybe not at this point, but maybe they come in towards the end, Half-Life style.
Okay. No, I like this because it's different because in every Resident Evil game it's pretty much been stars people.
So let's say the guy is the outsider and the girl is the insider.
Okay.
So
So
you
the girl
got
cop?
so you got a mechanic where the girl knows a little more about where stuff is. Maybe she has keys to certain things that the guy would not have. So she can take.
She's a city planner that works for in the Parks and Recs division of Raccoon City.
Actually, that's not a bad
She's-
idea.
She's April Ludgate.
Hence
She's
why I don't really mind the zombies. They're better than most people I know.
So that's actually an interesting idea that she's a member of a government organization.
Well, I like the idea that maybe having like your male character that's an outsider actually being a part of STARS in like a recon, and that's a twist ending, you know, where
Well, remember, STARS was the Raccoon City Police Department.
No, they weren't.
RCPD is the Raccoon City Police Department.
Yeah, STARS were a special force.
Yeah.
STARS were special forces of the RPD.
Special Tactics and Recon Services or something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
but
think they
they-
had anything to do with it.
They weren't a section
You
of the.
go to their STARS office in Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, they have an office there, but they're not based purely out of Raccoon City.
Yeah, they are, guys.
I don't think they are.
All of the STARS team members were based out of Raccoon City.
I don't think so.
Look it up. What you guys are thinking about,
I know that, like in Resident Evil 2, you find Chris Redfield's office,
which is in the RPD building.
right? But I'm gonna do some fact checking, although I hate fact checking. Special Tactics.
Yeah, and typing in stars into a search engine is a terrible idea.
The Special Tactics and Rescue Service was an elite special forces division under the jurisdiction of Raccoon City Police Department.
Thank you.
Oh. Okay, you're right. I really did not. I never caught that.
However, there was the umbrella cleanup crew that came in,
Which, like, Hunk is a part of.
which Hunk is a part of.
And Tofu.
Tofu, the dude from Carlos, I think, from 3 was a part of that group.
Is that my dog snoring? It is.
We gotta lock some stuff down with this.
Well, I also don't think we need to spend too much more time talking about it.
Yeah, well, this first time that we're ever doing anything, we are doing it pretty poorly.
Well, I mean, that's kind of par for the course for us.
Hey, man, these are brainstorming sesh.
Yeah. At the same time, I feel like we're sort of regurgitating. We don't have a core story. You know, we're basically remaking Resident Evil 2 via The Last of Us and Amnesia.
Yeah. Really, it's just yeah, and that was one of my biggest gripes with The Last of Us is it became too much of a like third-person action game where I was really enjoying the actual like ambiance and like survival aspect of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the most actiony part of it, outside of really the last two things, when you're in the university.
Drew hasn't played it, remember?
Yeah, that's why I'm not being specific. You're in the university and you're in that building at the end.
Yeah, but I
very
mean,
non-specific.
yeah. There were still plenty of times, like, on your way to certain areas where there was, like, oh, you got to get through this pack of zombies somehow.
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
Okay, here's a gameplay
a
mechanic.
Ninja game.
Here's a gameplay mechanic for you.
The Kinect sensor picks up your voice and attracts zombies. Oh, Dead Rising 3 did it already.
No,
Really?
Yeah.
that's actually kind of cool.
Huh.
So let's say you've always got multiple paths to go through stuff. In Resident Evil, you always pretty much had one path that you could go through, maybe two. In this game, since you are scrounging for everything, and you may not always have what you need to get through certain things, you have multiple paths that have different enemy types. So let's say a path might be just one or two screens to go through to get to your destination, but it's populated with hunters. But if you've only got a board with a nail in it, you're not taking down any hunters. So you have to go through this much longer path that has just shambling zombies. So they're easier to take down, at least one-on-one, and you have something that you can effectively take them down with, but it's going to take you a lot more time and a lot more carefulness to get through.
I like the idea of multiple paths. I guess over Dark Souls, I don't like the idea of being kind to a gamer.
Being
like,
what?
I want them both to have their own being kind to a gamer. Like taking one-on-one, it sounds.
It's not a kind thing. So you've got enemies that you know you can't deal with, versus an enemy that solo you can deal with just a lot more of them and a lot longer of a stretch. So maybe there is a hunger mechanic or a thirst mechanic that is also important.
No! That's
This is
true.
Metal Gear Solid 3.
You don't like
Snake
a hunger or thirst mechanic?
Hell no. It's the worst.
No.
What would you use to make that more challenging then?
To make the experience more challenging?
Yeah, I love the idea of multiple paths. I
do too. I think that's a good idea.
But if we're being kind to gamers by giving them a short path with super difficult monsters and a long path with easy monsters.
I hate mechanics where you have to like monitor yourself. Hence why I was super excited why they took the Zombrecht stuff out of Dead Rising 3. I don't think like there's nothing more annoying to me than having to not play on my own time. I play video games because I like to engage in the experience. Like with Dark Souls, I'm putting myself in this situation where I know it's going to be difficult and I'm enjoying the run through because I'm learning
I agree.
from it.
I don't like hunger or thirst mechanics. I'm
right.
just trying to satisfy Myles.
So I think
Wait, what? How is giving me shitty mechanics satisfying me?
Well, you're trying to say that I don't like being kind to gamers. So I'm trying to make it more difficult. I'm trying to make it the seemingly easier path, but there's some sort of twist or some sort of other mechanic to it.
Maybe you can have some kind of like well, again, I was gonna say sound mechanic, but The Last of Us did it, like throwing bottles to distract the zombie hordes and stuff like that.
I mean, Last of Us really did the perfect zombie game with
right. The Last of Us made the best. If you had put Leon Kennedy in Joel's shoes in The Last of Us, everybody would have been like, "This is the best Resident Evil game of all time."
Yep.
Okay, so how about this? So you've got hunters that you can, if you have the right weapons, you can take down. Like if you get a gun or something like that, which will exist in the game. But if you get a boar with a nail in it or a baseball bat, you're not taking them down. But you've got the other completely crazy packed longer path. But since the zombies are attracted to sound, you have to be very, very careful because you can take down one or two, but if you make too much noise, you're going to get swarmed and you're going to get eaten.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're not game designers.
But we could be.
My reboot suggestion is give it to Naughty Dog.
I mean, they did it already. Again,
yeah.
I mean, they did. There's no really cutting around this. I think no matter what Capcom does next, they are not going to make a game as
compelling
as The Last of Us.
And see, that's the thing. If you can't go compelling, try to go scary because they really need to bring the horror back to survival horror.
And isn't the creator of Resident Evil doing a Resident Evil-like game now?
Oh, The Evil Within?
Yeah.
But
I don't know how Resident Evil like it actually is.
No, The Evil Within looks like it's going to be interesting, but I don't know that it's going to be like what I want.
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to mix like Silent Hill and Amnesia and a little bit of Resident Evil, but it could be really good or it could be really, really shitty. I don't think it's going to be just mediocre.
Really good or really, really bad. Much like I feel this went.
I know. I thought it was a decent conversation.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
I think we didn't land on anything. But
I agree. But we picked a really heady subject that we were all. I liked the idea of us each bringing our own version to the table as opposed to trying to decide on one thing.
For next time, email us in with your suggestions of what you would like us to reboot or write an episode or movie or whatever. I think games are probably more complicated just because we're like you guys are focusing a lot on mechanics, and I'm trying to focus on story aspect, and so that's where things are getting a little weird. But we will pick one, and we're not going to do this every week. We might try it again next week, just because I don't know.
Patrick hasn't been here.
Patrick hasn't been here, and maybe he'll have something in, and it's new and fun. But I'd like to do that again. And if you would like to send those in to us, you can do that by going to emailing us at obscureshow@gmail.com. You can also go to facebook.com/obscurereference, Twitter @obscureshow. You can call us at
678-671-nerd.
6373 is the NERD. And themoreyounerd.com. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so, other than deuces and gooses.
Deuce, goose.
Good night, guys.
I hate you guys.